Hey everyone, I hope that you had an awesome New Year's weekend as it pertains to the Bills. Pretty much business as usual. We did what we came here to do. They beat the Falcons 29-15. Wasn't the simplest. Didn't start off simple, that's for sure. The Stevenson fumbled punt leads to the safety. Bills are down 2-0, but they respond well with 2 touchdown drives, capped off by Josh Allen rushing touchdowns. Josh rushing the ball. I mean, what more can be said about this? The guy is practically Bo Jackson out there. I know that you don't want to get hurt. Obviously, I don't want him to get hurt. And I worry about that because he certainly takes a lot of hits in there. And he might have to transition his game away from this as he gets older. But now he's young. He's good at it. It's such a viable threat for the Bills on all areas of the field, especially in the red zone. He's their best option, certainly their best rushing option in the red zone. I mean, they got into the red zone 4 times. They scored 4 touchdowns. That's been their downfall at times this year, is relying on field goals. Tyler Bass kicking under 30-yard field goals. I talked about that previously in these videos. I don't have the updated stats, but at one point he led the league in field goals under 30 yards, made and attempted. So they're getting in the end zone. They're scoring touchdowns. He wasn't impressive with his arm, obviously. He threw 3 straight interceptions on 3 straight possessions. One was after the half, but the Bills were trailing at halftime. I mean, 15-14. This is the recipe for disaster. You're kind of watching it play out. I don't want to say that I was nervous. I was just like, hey, okay, let's snap out of this. But that's kind of how I felt against Jacksonville too, and the Bills ended up losing that game. But I felt comfortable how they moved the ball in the first half. They still scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. I thought that they'd be able to do that again in the second half, and they were. They were able to do that, much to their credit. Despite the turnovers, the stupid special teams play. These have led to losses by the Bills earlier in the season. So I don't blame you if that kind of crept into your mind a little bit, but at no point did I really feel like the Bills were going to lose. Even though Josh Allen, like I said, that much of a threat with his arm, 11 of 26 for 120 yards and 3 picks. A 17 quarterback rating. That's got to be the worst of his career. Gabriel Davis, 3 for 40, hit a couple nice ones. I think that was on the first drive or two. Diggs, 5 for 52. That was, pretty much it. Beasley, 2 for 22. And then McKenzie had 1 for 6. That was it. That was it as far as receiving goes. Nothing to Dawson Knox. Nothing to any of the running backs. They tried Deion Dawkins in the end zone. That didn't work out as well. But they just didn't really need it. They still won by 14. They won comfortably. Of course they did. They always win by 2 scores. I tried to tell you last week, Atlanta is just, they're not a 7-8 team. They're just not. They have nice pieces. I like A.J. Terrell. That Oluokun guy at linebacker is a really nice player. I like Kyle Pitts. He had a nice long one that probably could have been called back because it looked like he stepped out of bounds. I like Russell Gage, but it feels like Matt Ryan is just clawing to the end of his career. He missed that window with the opportunity for the Super Bowl championship, which might be Kyle Shanahan's fault, might be a little bit his fault, might be a lot of blame to go around there, but whatever. You're Atlanta. You're eliminated. You're in the rearview mirror. Bills looking ahead. Sunday, the Jets. Division on the line. Win, and you win the division. Win for the AFC East against the worst team in the AFC East. They're 4-12. They've played better lately. They probably could have beat Tampa Bay. They tried a quarterback sneak on 4th and 2. Didn't work. And, of course, you've seen this move before. Brady goes down the field and wins it. That's how it goes. We've seen that movie a million times. They beat Jacksonville. The last 2 teams they beat are Jacksonville and Houston. Since, other than that, they haven't won since Halloween. Where they beat the Bengals with Mike White. They beat the Titans earlier in the year. The Titans were pretty banged up, but they beat the Titans in overtime earlier in the year. The Titans missed a field goal to send that one for a tie, actually. That was a missed field goal in overtime that would have made that game a tie. It's the Jets. I mean, do I need to go through this? They're dead last in total defense, in yards and points allowed. 25th in yards on offense, or 21st in yards on offense, 25th in points. They're just not good enough to beat the Bills in the last game of the season. You know how the last game of the season goes, guys. I mean, none of these guys on the Jets, some of them are playing for their jobs. I'm not saying they're going to mail it in completely. Some of them are playing for their jobs because you want to stay in the NFL, of course. But guys who might be a little bit more comfortable are not trying to get hurt going into the off season. You're off for a couple months. OTAs aren't until April. Training camp's not until the summer. You want to enjoy yourself. They probably have trips planned and stuff. This is a real thing. They're human beings. I know that you want that athlete mentality and be all in type of thing, but think about it. Just think about it. The Bills the Bills definitely aren't there. The Bills are playing football next week. They've clinched the playoff spot. Baltimore lost on Sunday. So the Bills clinched. They are playing next weekend guaranteed. They don't have a scenario where they can get the number 1 seed, unfortunately. So they are playing next week. So they are going... They're going to have their foot on the gas pedal against these guys. I mean, they beat them 45-17 earlier in the season. The Jets had 5 turnovers. I mean, I expect something similar. I'm not going to sit here... I don't want to sit here and preview the Jets game. Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh, Ty Johnson, nice player. Michael Carter, nice player. But I don't. Elijah Moore, nice player. There's no way. There's no way they beat the Bills on the road in the last game of the year. They can't wait to get back. It's the reality of it. I mean, you want to flip on that competitive switch. You hope your players do that, but this is the reality. That's just how it's going to be. The Bills are going to win. I mean, I've never picked this early in the video, but I'm going to. The Bills are going to win 34-14. 34-14 Bills over Jets. That's how it's going to go. I might have picked the same score last week with the Falcons. I think I did. I think I did, actually. Same score. 34-14 Bills over Jets. The more important thing really to look at for the Bills is obviously you don't want to overlook the Jets. They have to game plan for the Jets. I'm that confident because I'm a fan. I talk about this quite often on here. The Bills can't overlook the Jets because they have to beat the Jets to win the division. The fans, you're going to maybe go to the game, you're going to watch the game, of course. Your idea of it is basically this is just one big party. You have the later starting at 4:25 because the league likes to keep division teams playing at the same time. So the Patriots and Dolphins got moved as well. So there's no competitive advantage or disadvantage. The Patriots will not necessarily, if the Bills by some miracle lose to the Jets, the Patriots will be learning that in real time, and that's why they do things like that. I don't know if you get to sleep in a little bit more on Sunday, or you can go out there and early and make it one big party, like I said, like AFC East, in front of a packed crowd. They clinch the division. They clinch a home playoff game in the wild card round. The opponent to be determined. That's where I want to take the rest of this video, I guess, is to look at the playoff picture in the AFC. So, the Bills are in no matter what. You want to assume they're going to take care of business and beat the Jets. So, they would at least have the 3 seed locked up at that point. Or the 4 seed locked up, sorry. The 3 seed is in play. The 1 seed is the only thing not in play. So the 3 seed is in play. The Bengals are currently the 3 seed, coming off a very nice win against Kansas City. Super impressive win. Kansas City, I would still put Kansas City above the Bengals. Just because they took a penalty at the end of the game. Like, if you're the type of team, this is what happened in the Bengals game, where they're basically kneeling it out at the end just so they can kick a field goal and beat you. That's a smart thing to do, of course. It's a smart strategy as well, but, you need that penalty. Like, you'll do anything to not give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. You're kind of admitting that you don't trust your defense against him, that guy's really good and he's going to go get his points, that you can't beat them that way, straight up. They beat him straight up. I mean, Jamar Chase took over. And for a while, the Bengals have kind of been the team like, oh, just feed me the Bengals, because they're the Bengals. And, they have a ton of talent on offense. A ton of talent. A cornucopia of talent. Higgins is amazing on top of Chase. Tyler Boyd, one of the best slot receivers in the league. Like, that might be the number. I mean, you like the Bills? You really like the Bills a lot, with the Diggs and Beasley and then Davis and Sanders. Like, I think the Bengals got a little bit better, especially they're younger. Jamar Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. But the thing with the Bengals is they're not planning to play Joe Burrow on Sunday. So if they don't play Joe Burrow, They could lose to Cleveland. Cleveland, another team that might be kind of mailing it in, so I don't want to... But Case Keenum should be starting. Baker Mayfield's already been announced that he's not going to play. Does that make Cleveland better? Maybe. Maybe. I don't want to completely write off Cleveland there, especially if the Bengals are going to their backup quarterback as well. Burrow suffered a bit of a knee injury. I don't know if that's, maybe part of the reason, because they have a shot at the 2 seed if the Chiefs lose. If the Chiefs were to lose to the Broncos. Again, maybe not likely. So, and then the Titans play the Texans. So you got to assume that. I think you got to assume that the Chiefs are going to beat the Broncos probably. So the Titans are looking at the 1 seed, which is crazy to me. The Titans. They've been bad kind of at times. Just, I don't know, their point differential is just plus 62 and they're going to be the 1 seed. The Bills are plus 177. The Patriots are plus 168. The Chiefs are plus 112. And the Titans are staring at 12-5 possibly and the number 1 seed. Now, there's some give and some take to that. There's just so many scenarios that can still play out. There's a lot to still happen. A lot of chips to fall. The Bills could move up to the 3 seed. The Bengals lose and the Bills win. The Bills move up to the 3 seed. The Bills could actually be, I think, the 2 seed, actually, if the Chiefs also lose. So, again, all these things are in play here. But if you just pass the Bengals, let's say it's more likely for the Bengals. The Chiefs are probably going to play it out because they have a shot at the bye. They have a shot at the bye against the Titans. So I would anticipate the Chiefs are going to play it out. And I think they're on Saturday too, so of course they're going to play it out because the Titans don't play until Sunday. So if the Bengals, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I can feel myself being all over the place, but I'm trying to keep this together. Like I said, there's still so many things that could happen. So if the Bills are the 3 seed, if it's 1, 2, 3, Tennessee, Kansas City, Buffalo. If Kansas City and Buffalo both get through the wild card weekend, the Bills automatically are going to Kansas City for the divisional round. Do you want that? Do the Bills want that? Would the Chiefs want that? I think that's an important question to ask yourselves too. Most people are thinking about who they want to play, like fans at least. Well, I'd really not like to play the Colts. You're going to play good teams. This is the playoffs. You don't really get layups. They might get something in the wild card round that is nice, especially if they can move up to the 3 seed. They could end up playing the Colts. The Colts actually aren't even clinched yet, but they have Jacksonville, so they're probably clinched. So the Colts are kind of angling towards the 6 seed here. Maybe New England. They have trouble in Miami late in seasons all the time. Actually, even when they had Brady there. So is Miami maybe beat? Miami's already beaten New England. Does Miami beat New England? Because if the Colts win and New England also loses, the Colts win and New England loses, the Colts pass the Patriots. And then the last spot would go to Chargers or Raiders, depending on who wins that. There's actually a scenario, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I think if the Colts lose, it might have to do with the Colts losing, the Chargers and Raiders both get in by tying. So that would make for a heck of a story on Sunday Night Football if they just went out there and kneeled it out. Don't think they would do that, though. But, yeah, I mean, there's a scenario where the Bills play the Colts. There's a scenario where the Bills play the Patriots, and that seems like maybe the most likely scenario. There's a scenario where they play the Chargers or the Raiders. I mean, if you had to pick one of those teams, I suppose you're probably picking the Raiders, just because of what the Colts did to you. The Chargers have Justin Herbert. He's fantastic, but they can't really stop anybody. The Patriots, that's that shadow that is the Patriots. Do you want to go in there in Wild Card Weekend and play them? What are you thinking? Tell me what you're thinking. Who do you want to play? Again, I think a big part of this is who would want to play the Bills. Do teams want to play the Bills? We're thinking about, I don't really want to play them. Do they want to play us? I think that's an important part of the equation. The Bills are very good. Trust them to be good. The Bills are going to finish, they're playing the Jets, so probably going to finish first in overall defense unless they give up a bunch of yards late maybe to the Jets. First in yards, second in points. Third in points on offense, fifth in yards. The Bills are a very good team. Hopefully they're just, hitting their peak at the right time. Guys, we're going to preview a wild card game next weekend. It's guaranteed. Hopefully it's as division champions. But for now, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and username are the same. We'll talk about who we want to play. You know, it's always talking sports on there, constantly. Enjoy your weekend, guys. As always, above all else, go win the AFC East, Buffalo Bills.